Donald Trump just went off on the grifter class. The Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, all these people that all they've done is talk about Trump. Most of them, by the way, became famous and rich off of Trump. Okay? And now they're speaking on the man who changed the direction of this country for the better. No other politician ever done what Donald J. Trump has done. And what do? They turn on him because they don't like one little thing. You know what it is? These people are trying to take the MAGA movement because they think once Trump is gone, the MAGA movement is going to fracture and they're trying to grasp it. That's all this is about. Power and control and taking part of the movement. These people don't care about the country. If they did, they would have loved the fact that Donald Trump is actually shifting the divide of the New World Order, bringing the control back to our hemisphere. They should be celebrating. Trump is doing things no one thought could ever be done.
Now, President Trump took to Truth Social to slam his former friends who say they are over his war in Iran. The president writing, quote, "I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon because they have one thing in common," he says, low IQs, end quote. Carlson just called for the U.S. to detach from Israel. Kelly says that Trump, quote, allowed himself to be pushed into this conflict by Netanyahu. And Jones has called on Trump's cabinet to use the 25th Amendment to oust him from the Oval Office. President Trump says he has the support of MAGA and in a phone interview today said he is, quote, very optimistic that a peace deal with Iran is within reach. And he says Iran has been conquered. His vice president is set to lead those negotiations in Pakistan this weekend alongside his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, though Iran is warning the U.S. that Israel could kill any chance at diplomacy by continuing attacks on Lebanon.
With the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false. I'm not a witness or a named witness in connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements, or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and other repulsive behavior. The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically, must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation. To date, several individuals and companies have been legally obligated to publicly apologize and retract their lies about me, such as Daily Beast, James Carville, and HarperCollins UK.
I genuinely thought with the tweet that Trump put out there, I thought it was a joke. I will tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth. I don't love the rhetoric that he had for it. Very happy he called him out by name, though. Absolutely. I've never had an issue with the president or anyone calling someone out by name for what they did, by action. I think it needs to happen. But, it's Trump. Trump has always been the way that he has been with his social media. I don't recommend calling them nut jobs, low IQ. I personally don't talk about people's spouses, especially not in a physical sense, saying that Candace is not an attractive woman. I think that's conduct unbecoming, personally. Entertaining as it absolutely is. But some of these things on here, it gave off the impression of someone whose prom date broke up with them the night before, and now they have access to social media. That being said, it doesn't remove the truth behind what he was saying in that. I think that's going to be hard for a lot of individuals to pierce through, because the left media is going to say he's horrible. I can't believe he said these things. It's so sad. Trump's always been this way. He's consistent. I'm not surprised that he said this. That I will tell you. I voted for him all the same, knowing that this man probably should have someone take his phone away from him and kind of double check the stuff that he says. But in it, the truth is very much there. All these individuals, I'm not too familiar with what Alex Jones did. I heard about it, the Sandy Hook thing, and all that. But Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, my sister Crystal has kept me pretty abreast on that. Objectively speaking, they are using two things. It is Trump and Charlie Kirk. They are using those to boost their platform. I think one of you showed me a video about how many times Candace has said, "We're close. We're almost there. We're close. Any day now. We're really close." She's been close since September of last year, right? And so I think he's right for calling this out. I wish he had the class that Melania had when he did it, because this woman should not have to do that. She should not have to come up there and have to explain herself as the first lady of the United States of America and all the things that are going on. She's catching strays, and she's probably sitting there just trying to do her absolute best. I'm happy she came out there. I'm happy she said the names. Absolutely. And I'm really curious. And I know that, I know Crystal's probably going to let us know as soon as it happens. I can't wait to hear what the response is going to be from these individuals who were named, because you have been dragging his name through the mud. And it's not against talking against the president. You have a right to do that. And you should. If you think that he's doing something wrong, absolutely. But if you have a platform with millions of people following you, you have an obligation morally to do so in an objective way, in a way that is meant to bring individuals together and not just for your clicks and everything in between. So I'm happy that he's calling that out. It's a shame that as a country, we're spending time calling out individuals who are leading people astray, still have homeless, still have an education issue, still have a food issue, still have a health issue, and all kinds of things. Hopefully people hear this and realize that, yeah, there's some bad actors that are out there. I do hope they can look past the way that Trump said it. They're not gonna, but again, he's always been this way. And so I'm not going to walk away from this. And even last night, I passed out. I didn't walk away from it thinking anything less than Trump. He's always been that way. If he had came out and done something different, then maybe. But I'd love to hear somebody say that what he's saying is not true, right? I'm not going to hold Trump to the standard of Christ and expect him to be perfect across the board. I just want to see, is what he's saying have any foundation in reality? And I believe that it does.
Well, I mean, this really bolsters their platforms. Even
That's my
more.
other concern,
I mean,
too.
He really
It's gonna
tossed
bring
him.
people
He
to it.
tossed him a nice bone there. I mean,
Yep.
sheesh.
People on the left hate Trump. Period. It don't matter what the man does. As soon as you say anything, they'll come in there, but Trump, but Trump, but Trump. And so now he just gave them somewhere else they can go to get that content. It might backfire.
Oh, well, first of all, Trump is Trump. I don't agree with a lot of things that he says or the way he says them. Naturally, and I think that there needs to be more pushback about that. He can learn a lot from his wife, by the way, when it comes to communicating. I mean, I wish he would take more of her demeanor when he's doing, because I mean, a lot of stuff he's saying is true and needs to be said. But you can diminish what you say by how you say it, and I don't think he has gotten that memo yet. Let me just give you a couple of things. On the IQ, I think that he was right about Alex Jones having a low IQ, but I don't think that's true about the rest of them. I also don't think that it's true about him saying. I don't think that it's true about him saying that Candace is ugly. That's just see. The problem with Trump is that he says true things and false things at the same time, and the false things he says just because it's true. You know, you can call him stupid. You know, and that's unfortunate. I'm on the fence still about the Bridget Macron thing. I think she could be a man from what I've researched so far. But my main concern is that he's calling out people who were once supporting him, who now, for all the different reasons that they're not supporting him, are turncoats and needs to be called out. And specifically, people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, they are, and I don't go the same direction as many go, saying they are grifted. They just doing this to make money. I think these people have real legitimate concerns. They have really legitimate arguments, and I think that it's easy to ignore the legitimacy of what they're saying because of the illegitimacy of the things that they're saying. Because they like Trump are saying true and false things, and I try not to diagnose the person's motivation because I don't know them. I'm not in their head, and I'm not God, but I judge them by what they say. And so what I'm trying to encourage Christians to do is take what they say. If you're going to attack them, outline what they said specifically and respond to proving that it's wrong.
Thank you.
Don't just generalize and say that, well, they're crazy, they're demonic, they're this and that, because that doesn't help the argument. It doesn't discredit them. It just shows that you have an animosity against them. If you look at my Substacks, I actually do take the time to go through some of the things that people say about, like Candace, for instance. I'm doing a series right now called Get Candace Owens, and I've been doing a series of going through people who legitimately said things about her, and I also outlined the illegitimate things that they've said, and I think that we have to be accountable to that. We have to be accountable. If we're going to hold her accountable, we got to be accountable also. Now, I'm going to be doing my next series. What the others should be doing is accurately identifying things that she's saying and doing wrong, and nail her on those. She says enough bad things to nail her on. Why would I nail her on things that makes basic, some general sense when she got a whole lot of crazy stuff that she said and bad stuff that she said about Israel, about Iran, things she said positive about Iran, things she said wrong about Christianity, about Jews, about Israel. I mean, she says a lot of dumb stuff and bad stuff because she's tapping wrong sources. Let's get her on that. And if we do that consistently, that will discredit her. But when you nail her on things that or attack her on things that she's not actually making no sense about, you're not helping the issue. That's my point on that. But Trump, he was good for doing that. I think he should go out there, but he has to be more accurate because anytime he's not accurate, it just discredits him. And that's stupid, especially by the man at the top of the list. He's an American president. He needs to have more class. And who's around him that's talking can say, listen, dude, you're doing a good job, but you gotta clean up your language. You know, maybe as AT said, somebody need to check out what he's putting out before he puts it out. He needs to have somebody in his ear that he respects enough to let them help him with how he's communicating, because he's making some bad mistakes that gives his enemies more credibility to attack him. And I think that's unfortunate.
More, just more bullets in the chamber, because they'll pick out the things that are false and they will hone in on those things and they will disregard the things that he said that are true.
You don't need to give him that.
And I'm there with you. But at the same time, I mean, Trump's brash. He's been brash. He is a legit New Yorker. He is a legit New Yorker. No doubt. And he's not a politician, and I think people understand that. And I think he's at this point now. And this is just my opinion. I think he understands that he has 2.5 more years in this political realm, and I'm going to do and I'm going to say whatever it is that I want to do, because I ain't running for nothing else after this. This is it. Yeah, and I think that's where he is. And I think, when you get a certain age as well, you know how that goes. When you get a certain age, the couthness goes out the window. You know, you just say whatever's on your mind. If you feel like I got to get it off my chest, I'm gonna get it off my chest. And he's an 81-year-old.
Why? He's making up for a lot that wasn't said over the years.
Yeah,
he's making up a lot for what wasn't said over many years.
That too.
Said.
I didn't care about the tweet. I didn't care about it because of Trump and his tweets. And I also didn't care about it because I feel like this, what's going on here on the so-called right, that, you know, everyone seems to have an opinion and, you know, they're weighing in on. My advice has always been to be extremely cautious. And the reason is this: all of these people have a 20-year relationship, much of which you don't know about. So all of these people were in bed together. All of these people have fallen out before. See, I've been around this for a long time. Amen. I can remember when Tucker Carlson and Trump fell out 8 years ago, and then were hugged up at the stands. I can remember when Megyn Kelly and Trump fell out. Then they, you know, hugged up. I can remember when Trump said that Elon Musk uses drugs, and now they're back together again. The fact of the matter is, much of this is getting in fights and squabbles in public for reasons they tell us in public, but are motivated by personal relationships we have know nothing about.
We don't know.
And they will get back together again. So I caution everybody, if you want to, you know, if this is the hill you want to die on, be careful, because you just might. You just might. That's number one. And as far as Melania is concerned, first of all, her grace and class is so extraordinary. Anytime she steps out there, like they say in London, she never puts a foot wrong. But I will say this, and this is why I say always maintain a healthy amount of skepticism. Melania should have never had to come out there and say anything on her own behalf. Where is the disclosures? Where are the exposures? We were promised that we were going to drain the swamp, and we were going to stop protecting child predators, and we are going to stop protecting the people who killed Martin Luther King. Allegedly, that was put out there. And what did we find out? Martin Luther King died, but nobody killed him. The people why are we protecting JFK's killer? What did we find out? Supposedly that was released. What did we find out? JFK died, but nobody killed him. Now we have Epstein. What did we find out? Some girls may have been hurt, but nobody hurt them because there are no disclosures. What about the man who was climbed down the roof and tried to kill Trump? Why doesn't anybody really know his name? Who put him up here? When did he buy the gun? What's his address? Where are the disclosures? Why are these people being protected? There is legitimate reason to look at the Trump administration and say, it is unfair to say we have been held hostage and captive by a deep state that is not allowing us to live out our constitutional creed because they have created a shadow government, and then nobody ever gets exposed and name gets spoken up to. So what I'm saying is be very careful, people, because like I said, these are personal squabbles, quite possibly, that everybody's getting involved with, and that's your right. I'm not let everybody do what they want to do, but be careful because there's a whole lot in the background that can be happening, which is why they can make up and kiss and no problem. And you'll be still somewhere with your feelings and you're, feeling some kind of way on something you may not know about. And this is one thing that bothers me about the right. What has bothered me about the right is to see them react and be so reactive and so emotional. Makes me think there's very little difference between the right and the left in these situations because they're acting exactly the same.
Yeah.
Trump is Queens, and we Queens people, we do not play. Okay. Let me start off with that. I am a Queens girl. You took the only reason why the Queens came out of me was because of Jesus Christ, because that Queens girl was serious. Okay. Trump is still working on the Jesus Christ part. Now, let me explain something to y'all. The thing is, Trump is doing what others did not want to do. He called Candace Owens ugly. There's a reason why. Look at what Candace Owens has been saying about Erica Kirk this entire time. He decided, because he's who he is, he was going to get in on Candace himself, because no one wants to defend poor Erica Kirk from this psycho, baddie, crazy, narcissistic woman, because that is what Candace Owens is, a grift. I know, Minister Denzel, you don't want me to say it, but she is a grifter. She does what she does for some money. And we've watched it. We've been watching for months. I'm almost there. You ain't nowhere. You just keep spinning to make more money. Okay. Number two, he called out Tucker because Tucker is disgusting. Okay. He's trying to use the Bible to legitimate his rants. And every time he has been wrong. I have corrected him twice. I'm about to correct him a third and a fourth time with his biblical illiterate behavior. Okay. Megyn Kelly, because she's trying to stay in cahoots with Candace and them, now she's demented up here. So she's talking crazy. Alex Jones now, he has his good parts, and I know someone I'm close to who worked with Trump in the past. The one thing they say about Trump, and I will agree with Celeste on this, is that Trump is a very forgiving person. He will go in on you. He will tear you down. He will dress you down the whole 9 yards. And then you come back and you talk to him. Trump has been quiet the entire time. And I want people, because this is what happens when you move from the left and you move to the right. In my case, you go down the rabbit hole. And I've been going down this rabbit hole watching these people. And the reason why Trump is reacting the way that he is, I know y'all said he said this and is going to bring in the left to go and check out their content. The left has been watching their content. That is why they've been watching the Candace Owens, the Nick Fuentes, the Alex Jones, the Megyn Kellys that are literally saying to people, the Trump administration is problematic. We need to get rid of them. Let Democrats win, and then we will start all over again. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Because the minute you give Democrats the power, they're not going to give it back again. Right. So I understand why Trump came out, because these people, I think all of them, maybe not Alex Jones. I'm going to give Alex Jones a pass. But the rest of them, they're grifters, because you're just trying to go wherever you're going to make money. The fact you don't care what happens to the rest of the American citizens when you can fix your mouth and say, we are tired of MAGA, we are tired of Trump, we are the real America first. So let's make the Republicans lose and give Democrats the power again. You don't care about America first. You don't care about Americans by that statement alone. So when I say I understand why Trump did that, because at this point, we are so tired. I watch it every day. I'm always researching and I get so tired. And I'm like, why is no one saying anything? And he pulled them to the carpet. Amen. Because him being quiet, people think that he knows that he's wrong. And they're pointing out. That's what people are saying in the comments. I just want y'all to know, because I sit on their threads. I read all their stuff. This is literally what people, the Cantifas believe, the Tucker people, that's what they believe. They believe that Trump knows he's wrong. They're calling him out. That's why he's quiet. Nope. Today he said, nah, I'm going to let y'all know that you're wrong, because all of y'all are low IQ, and they are low IQ. If you hear the arguments that they have, it is trash. I understand why Trump did that. And I hate that Melania had to come out and do that. But what I love about Melania is that is a first lady of elegance and grace. Yes, and she is so articulate and put it all together and laid it down in the line. And she let everybody know, I am not one to mess with either. I am not the one or the two. And I appreciate that.
I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on the all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family or buy your brother a coffee. That link's in the description box below. Join us Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. And as always, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
It is God who arms me with strength. Yeah, I'm battle ready. He trains my hands for battle. My heart stays steady. But thanks be to God, He gives us the victory. Through my Lord Jesus Christ, fear can't live in me. I was down to the dirt, red clay on my shoes, old pain in my shirt, oh so bruised. Then the Lord hit my chest, kicked air from my breath, put power in my step.